Money my motivator, my money maker. No, I don't see them haters, so let go get the paper.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Spare Keys Podcast. I'm your host, Shell, to company today with...
This is your host, Q, ladies and gentlemen.
And I just want to jump into it. I don't want to try to wade into the waters of this. I've seen a trend lately of people falling into these traps of people pandering, and I'm not just going to say pandering to women, but that's my main topic right now. Of everybody just it's hard to jump into without trying to be insensitive, but there's a lot of books and a lot of people on social media, and their whole thing is geared towards garnering a woman audience and then profiting from it. And I just want to know what you feel about that.
Are you talking about anybody specific?
I was going to drop some names, but I decided, you know what, they got enough clout, enough fame. I'm not going to name drop. I think a lot of people can kind of get who some of the top main people are, but I just want to know what your opinion of it is before I get into some stuff.
Oh, bro, I'm not with the pandering. I don't believe in that at all. I mean, it's like people be giving people advice, and I'm like, yo, if nothing else on the show, you already know how I feel about practical thinking, right? If you can't think for yourself, then that's a problem. If you rely solely on these folks for your thought process, then you are in a completely different problem to start with. So if you listen to these relationship gurus telling you how to operate a relationship, it's going to be very difficult for you to engage with somebody on a personal level, because you're gonna think, oh, Derek Jackson said this, Derek Jackson. My fault.
It don't matter. It don't matter. Nobody cares. Derek Jackson would be from everybody. I was trying not to drop his name, but hey, fine. We're gonna name drop. We can name drop. It don't matter. So Derek Jackson. There's a gentleman. I won't say his name just because I don't know where he ranks at in the pandering scale, but from his book, I know it's pure pandering. And remember a few days ago I called you, correct? And I asked you one simple question. I didn't bait you into an answer. I didn't bait you into anything. I asked you one simple question before I hung up the phone. And I said, what are the two things that a man should do for a woman? And your response was?
Provide and protect.
The gentleman wrote a book. It is a chapter in his book about what a man should provide for a woman. And he lays out how a man is there to provide and protect. And he found a way to say this over and over in various ways. But I didn't explain to the young lady who tried to show it to me like it was her firsthand new knowledge that it's the same thing that's been taught for generations and passed down for generations amongst almost all social circles of just general interactions between men and women. What the standards are culturally or beyond cultures of what men are supposed to do and essentially have a great relationship with women. And I think the 3 points of that book that really drove me crazy when it came to all the pandering was he has quotes like the whole provide and protect thing and how he tries to flip it on his head and makes it so if a man's not providing and protecting, then a man's not a real man. He's still a little boy. He said women are there to, how can I say this? I'm trying to figure out how he said it and whatever. Essentially, he said women aren't there to sponsor their man. And if they're sponsoring a man, then he's just a little boy. Everything he said, if it wasn't the letter of the law, then the person was just a little boy to him.
Sponsoring?
Yes, sponsor.
What do you mean? What do you mean by that? What do you mean?
That's what I try to figure out, because the way he put it is pretty much if she spends money on him, then she's sponsoring him, and that is not a man.
So okay. So basically, he's calling these niggas Make-A-Wish Foundation type motherfuckers, right? So he's basically saying, all right, if women have to spend money on men, then at that point, Then at that point, a man is not a man. He's a child, and she's his mother taking care of him. Is that what he's...
Essentially, yeah.
So Nah, bro. I'm not finna get in it. I'm not finna fall into that trap, bro. We're not even finna go down that road of conversation, fam. Because
You see.
because you know my response is, and that response doesn't promote growth and excellence, fam. It doesn't. You know what I want to say, and I know you want to say the same shit.
Yes.
But see,
it's so hard to find the political correct thing to say, isn't it?
I'm not trying to be politically correct. I'm trying to make sure people understand what I'm trying to say, right? I'm in no way, shape, or form trying to, like, make people understand, okay, I am trying to make people understand my thought process, but like I'm trying to say it in such a way that it won't come because here lately in every conversation I've had with a lady outside of Margot, which I don't know when y'all gonna hear this episode, but we had a conversation with Margot already, but it's like the conversation we have and turns into something that they want to talk about, and it's like they not trying to hear my point of view. We talked about it on a previous episode, I think, right, where I was having a conversation about women protecting themselves, right, where the girl turned it around and was like, no, men need to police other men. I'm like, yo, but I didn't. My point was not heard. My conversation was derailed. It's like I just wasn't. I flat out just wasn't listened to. Like they didn't care about my opinion at all. That's how I felt. We'll put it that way.
That's my whole thing when I get into this whole pandering box. Like, that man might have a gem or two that can truly help a woman somewhere buried in that book, but she tried to pull out excerpts of that book that she found super touching and super blah blah blah, and it was all I try to explain to her. It was all shit that we've heard at a barbershop, we've heard at a cookout, we've heard at the family table, you've heard from your dad, your granddad, your grandma. You've heard it your whole life, as a man at least, about what you need to do to take care of a woman, or how to provide for a woman, or be around a woman. And the reverse side, I don't know what happens and what kind of way women are taught to growing up, or what they're told to expect from a man. So I'm not trying to be like, okay, there's not a woman out here that may need this, but the overwhelming majority of books and people like this are preying, in my mind, and I'm trying not to offend nobody, but the only way I can put this is, in my mind, they're preying on low-hanging fruit. They're playing on people's emotions and people that feel desperate and feel like society's against them.
Bruh. So did we ever talk about the safe spaces, like when that was a thing?
I don't think we did, at least not on the podcast or anything like that.
So, okay, there was a whole debacle about safe spaces for people that were feeling attacked by other people's opinions, right?
Yes.
And so, okay, that what you just said reminded me of that situation, right? So we've, like I said, I don't want to name drop, but there are certain guys or certain folks on the internet that pander to women specifically, right? Yeah. They create a safe space for women to come and feel related to, and so they can voice their opinions and talk about that shit, right? So there was a debacle about like actual physical safe spaces for certain demographics of people. I think within the last year, like or a year before that, something like that. Anyway, it was a scenario where people were like, putting groups together literally on the internet and decided, okay, we're all in this one city. Let's all meet up and discuss what's going on in our various city, and have some like-minded people and some people that have been through our same experiences to share things with, right? Mm-hmm. Which seems like a good idea in hindsight, right? You want to get together with people that have shared your past traumas and sufferings, right? So you can identify with some people that are close to you, obviously. Yeah. But then, not only did we figure out months later that these safe spaces were organized by the very people that these people who wanted a safe space were afraid of, right? So in a lot of cases with these safe spaces, somebody that would organize it would then be someone that facilitated the events and all that, but then would turn around and prey on those people that they already knew were predispositioned to be vulnerable to the attacks that they were committing, right?
Yes.
So I feel like whenever somebody panders towards a certain group, right, that's how I view it, right? I think, okay, I'm pandering to this type of person, but then I'm just doing it to, like, there's always some sort of hidden agenda when you pander to a specific type of person,
Yeah.
right? There's always some sort of like hidden like just some ulterior motive that the person wants,
Yeah.
right, when they create that kind of space.
So
And that,
you go. I was about to say. So like that's what bothers me was when we were speaking about the particular the book. And I can name drop Steve Harvey. Everybody knows Steve Harvey. So like when he wrote that, what, Think Like a Man, Act Like a Lady book, they made a movie out of it. And essential in a nutshell is still pandering.
yeah,
And then
yeah,
but they try to explain to me that this guy is not a pandering type of guy. He's not. He wrote this book for the dedication and all out right to help improve women, and he uses God a lot in the book. The book has a God-ish reference title, and then they turn around and told me the reason he's not pandering is because he wrote a similar book for men. But I also guarantee, when we were having this conversation between me and the woman, I said that I guarantee, yeah, he might have wrote a book for men, but I guarantee that book does not sell nor generate the income that book for women does.
yeah, because men ain't into that stuff. Like, okay, so as a man, right, your thought process is logical, would you say?
Yes.
Which means you have a thought process of, if this, then that. There's nothing else in between.
Pretty much.
It's beginning to be a conversation where I feel like we need a woman
I
present,
know.
but we hardly ever have conversations like that in the first place. But anyway, so for the most part, when a woman thinks something, there's emotion involved with it, right? It's not what I think is the correct answer. It's more about how I feel about the situation, and what I'm going to do, right? It's is an emotion there that complicates things.
Yeah. Because it's like the old saying or whatever: when a man cheats, it's physical; when a woman cheats, it's emotional.
Right, because it's literally like for most men, it's literally like a physical thing. Like I just like, they just want something new.
Yeah.
And then for women, it's more of a, like, okay, I need this thing from this man, but he's not giving it to me. So now I'm going to go find this other man that's willing to give me that one thing. Meanwhile, I got the whole picture at home.
Yep. Like
It's a weird thing.
It's truly weird. And like I said, I don't want women, because that's why I know I'm gearing this conversation towards, to feel attacked for buying those books or provide, or like I'm not gonna say provide, for following these type of people. But I just want women to understand. I want people to understand, period. Like, when you're pandering to a group, oftentimes the good of the group is not for the good of the person. Like he like you said earlier, people create these safe spots, these safe spaces to get people to congregate in, and then they benefit from the congregation of people without ever needing or being one of those people. It's just a way, from my mind, that these guys make their money. They make their living. Like, this guy is charging $15 a book. The woman I was talking to, she bought the book. Her co-workers bought the book. There's numerous other people that bought this book. I'm like, you're literally, quote unquote, sponsoring this man's lifestyle now off of this book. And 90% of this book is all common things that people either heard growing up or should have heard growing up, just being around other human beings.
Right. These are things that folks already know. And so, like, it kind of irks me when folks do that, right? Yeah. Like, because literally, we talked about it before, right? For the most part, in a culture, in a generation, you all have similar lifestyles, yeah, right? You've all seen similar things. And this is why I don't appreciate the pandering, just because if you don't sorry, if you have like if you have multiple people that have the same that have had the same similar experience, and then you put those similar experiences in a book for people to read, right? It's just like a lot of this stuff is common sense.
Oh, for sure.
Like like name a couple things that he listed in the book. Like let's just speculate real quick.
I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think. Like I said, there was the whole sponsorship thing, the whole like just restating men are there to provide and protect. What was it? He said, "What is it? Let me do this. Give me like 10 seconds. I think if the book's still at my house, I'm gonna grab the book and I will find something out of it. Should have been a little better prepared, but give me 1 second.
Okay. So while you're looking that up, I'm gonna talk a little bit about this whole situation, this whole debacle. So a lot of folks are literally just, and once again, I don't want to drop any names. You know who the guys are that all the women like flock to on Instagram and Twitter, and you share posts of, and they be like, "Oh, that's it right there. He said a word." I'm like, he didn't say. In my humble opinion, he didn't say anything. What he said was something that everybody knows about, everybody talks about, and it's like common sense. And I can't. I just people are legit just profiting off of common
Yeah.
sense.
All right. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna read you off some of the names of the chapters, and at this point, if people are diligent enough, they can probably go look up the book. But whatever. So, like one chapter is his love will uplift you, not break you. Another thing is do not settle. Uh, another one is he will love God. He'll want is you and your love, not just a piece. And then there aren't enough men. Like these are just a few of his like chapter names. And then what is it? Oh, he wants a helpmate, not a playmate.
So I just, all right, okay. What was that? What was the first one? Remind me again.
I don't know because I kind of skipped around. Let me see. You got his love will uplift you, not break you. Do not settle.
Common sense.
He wants a helpmate, not a playmate. Oh, here, this is a good chapter too. You'll experience a genuine connection, not just chemistry. He will love God. He'll want all your love and not just a piece. It, like it's all just basic stuff in my mind. Like it's all things that we've heard 1,000 times.
It's basic, but it's descriptive.
Yeah.
So like in the message, so in the messages he sends, right, or not messages, but in the chapters he writes, right, it's there. I'm willing to bet they're very descriptive because there's a strong difference in women's novels versus men's novels, right? Like if a novel is written for a man, it's pretty cut and dry, it's basic, it's to the point, right? It's straight up and down. This is what it is. This is how it gets done. This was my life story. This is what it is. But for women like details.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever noticed, but whenever you ask a woman, or whenever a woman asks you what happened, and you just say, okay, I went to the store, I picked up this, and that was it. Mm-hmm. They want to hear how you got there, how much gas was in the car, and they want to know who was in front of you in line, who was behind you, and how did the cashier look at you when you rang out. That's what they want to know. They want to know the full story.
Oh yeah, for sure.
They want to know how you felt and describe the feeling that you felt when you were in line about to buy the thing that you really wanted.
Oh, his writing is definitely the chapters and what they're about are definitely stretched out. Like it's not just it's like a 200-ish page book. It's not like a quote unquote quick read, but it's an easy read, and there's realistically maybe 3 paragraphs a page.
Right. It's a read that makes you feel.
Yeah.
That makes you that elicits an emotion.
Yeah.
Right. and that's generally all it is, because that's the primary difference when you write for a man versus woman. That's literally all it is.
Like I
That's
just
what.
find it, like I said, the pandering is the bother, is the thing that bothers me. And don't get me wrong, because we can say this: everything in our life is pandered to us. McDonald's panders commercials to us. Electronics pander commercials to you to get you to do what though? To get you to buy. Either buy, like physically purchase something, or buy into a way of thinking and a way of living. When I take on clients that I train for my sports business, I pander to the athletic community. But you're pandering for the exchange of something. I'm exchanging my knowledge and helping you get better at a sport. In return, I get money. He's pandering what I see as general knowledge for the returns of money. And it's like I said, it's preying on people that should have access or should have been access to this. Like a lot of the stuff he said in this book when I was having a conversation with this young lady, is things I've said
Mm-hmm.
to her myself. I can't find it right now, especially because she's not here. But there was a point where I was just bullshitting around, and I started just saying random things that I've heard my whole life, and it was legit a paragraph that he wrote in this book, almost word for word.
So, do I know this lady you're talking about?
You know, one of them.
One of
Yeah.
them. Okay, good. So, let me get this straight. So, you, in your everyday life, just messing around, having a conversation, you recited all the talking points from a single chapter in that book.
Pretty much.
So, how exactly? All right, I'm not gonna say that, because if you remember, we've had several conversations with another associate of yours that will go unnamed
Mm-hmm.
for over very what was to us common sense things that are not exactly public information,
Yeah.
apparently.
Yeah.
So you know what? I won't say that it's not a widely known that it's a widely known thing, because clearly it's not.
Yeah.
If these books can sell so much, if these books can make such an impact on people's lives, then clearly it's not a one-off situation where, okay, we have this thing where we have this phenomenon,
Yeah.
right? It's generally something that folks don't know about. It's like, okay, or maybe it's a side of the conversations that women don't get to hear, like, right?
Yeah.
Because I think you said earlier it was pretty much stuff you heard in the barbershop or like at a cookout, family cookout or whatever,
Yeah.
right? And it was just the men talking or whatever, you know. But to us, it's like all common sense. And to be fair, we might be a different breed than most than your average guy, right?
I would agree with that.
We, so, but I don't know, because here lately I've been listening to some of the struggles of these women, and I just be like, I don't understand. Number one, why they're putting up with it. Number two, where these dudes are coming from.
Yeah. And like I said, I feel like these books, yes, speak, or these books or these people sometimes speak to a certain demographic, maybe the people that didn't grow up with certain influences in their life. So I don't want to sit here and act like and like condemn them completely within a whole, but profiting in my mind off of a one-sided narrative, that's what I don't agree with when I say pandering. So a lot of people, like I said, corporations pander to us all day long, and we go out and buy things. These people, like I said, they may provide a service to a demographic of people who did not get exposed or weren't in the type of household to learn these kind of values and stuff. But at a certain point, like we said, it's a lot of common sense rules. And I feel like when you make money off of common sense rules, I'm almost confused now since we started this podcast of who I should be more upset with. The people making money off of the common sense, or the people not knowing that this is just common sense from the beginning.
I mean, to be honest with you, from an entrepreneur standpoint, I can't be mad. I can't be mad if the guys monetize some shit that everybody knows about,
Yeah,
right? Because if people were really smart, they would have monetized it
yeah.
too. Because fair enough.
That's what I'm saying. It's
'Cause-
once I start thinking from a business mindset, like if I take my emotion out of it and I think of it from strictly from dollars and cents, it's a smart lane to be in because you're gonna get people emotionally involved and you're gonna get emotional money. And once you get emotional money, it's a reoccurring source. So all you gotta do is stay in that same lane of writing and speaking and talking and doing whatever you do, and you will continue to profit from it until that demographic either A learns what's going on and understands that hey, this is the same shit that Miss Susie on the block over there told me, or my granddad told me 5 years ago, but I didn't want to listen to it. And
yeah,
so like that was my biggest thing with it. I was like, this is stuff that people have told you. Like I've told you, I know your parents have told you, like just other people around you that I know firsthand with this person or these few people that I know people have told them. But they seem to be more receptive and not like it was brand new news coming from a different source.
well, it might have not been brand new news, right? It could have been. So now when I think about it, what if it is common sense,
Yeah.
right? What if every single person knows it? What if they only bought it because they knew it would reinforce their beliefs, right? It's like if you think about it, right? You buy a new Bible because you buy a new Bible, or you get around people that go to church, right? Because they reinforce your beliefs, that they make you feel better about believing what you believe, right?
Yeah.
And so you buy this book because you already think these things, and therefore you just keep buying it because okay, yeah, it reinforces your beliefs, which should be common sense, and you should be steadfast enough in your beliefs to know that it's common sense and know that this is the way things should be,
Yeah.
right? And so maybe that's the thing. Maybe it's just another way of looking at it. Like, all right, I'm gonna get a copy of this just because I already know that I already know what's in the book. I already know what it's about. But I'm gonna support this and reinforce the fact that this is what I believe.
You're such a great, co-host. You just segue so nicely into things. But like you said, that belief that leads us to following that internal compass, though. Like if you feel something in your heart of hearts and your spirit of spirits, and you believe it, and you think it in your mind, like you said, you should be able to stand alone with your beliefs. I feel so. Yeah, like you said, buying a new Bible or buying these books or listening to these people talk help reinforce and help, I guess, strengthen what you feel in your soul already. But I
Mhm.
feel like if you know what's right and what's wrong for you, and you know what you will and what you won't tolerate, then you should stay steadfast in your beliefs, and you should be ready to walk a path, even if you feel like you're walking a path alone.
Yeah, but nobody wants to do that, bro. No, that's just not appealing. Like if you just talking about somebody that wants people don't believe things because they believe in them. They believe things because other people believe them,
Yeah,
right? Like nobody wants to be the first person to walk down a path because that shit is lonely.
oh yeah.
First of all, like
It's lonely.
if
It's treacherous. You're gonna get scraped up, bruised up. It's unmarked territory.
and people left and right are going to tell you, no, this is crazy. This is not what you should be doing. Like this doesn't make sense. Like why don't you do it like this? Do it
Yeah,
like I did it. Because once again, they want to reinforce the fact that they nobody wants to go to the grave with regrets,
yeah.
right? So what most people do after they make a decision is reinforce the fact is try to put you on the same path as
Try to
them
verify it.
to exactly to reinforce their decision so that they don't feel like they were because if and this happens all the time, right? So like if you let's say you go to the store and you're looking for I don't know like a game of Jenga or something, right? And it's like $25, but then the next day like Walmart has a sale where Jenga's like $5, and a bunch of people go behind you and buy it,
Yeah,
right? Now you feel like, oh, I could have waited a day and spent a whole $20 less in general on my Jenga set as opposed to spending that extra $20 in the first place. And now I feel crazy because I spent $5 on I spent five they spent $5 on something I spent $20 on.